Hello YouTube, it is TheKillerNacho again, and I am here with a OU battle with TheSuperJai. I actually had a battle with him not so long ago that was UU, but he happened to be on at the right time at the TPX chat, and when I asked for a battle, and he responded, so sure, let's battle again. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of try out one of these lead Mews that I keep facing and hearing so much about. And, yeah, he leads with the Rotom. I'm just going to set up Stealth Rocks. He's going to miss his Will-O-Wisp, which kind of stinks for him. I mean, I didn't have any physical moves on that Mew, but at the same time, it's residual damage, so it was kind of sucky for him. But anyway, I kind of figure he's going to go for it again, and I make a great play going out into my, Choice Scarf Heracross to take the burn, because I do have Guts, which is freaking awesome. I go for a Mega Horn. He goes out into his, bat thing and Gliscor, and that's the Mega Horn still would have done decent damage with the Guts, I think, but it misses anyway, so it's whatever. So anyway, I go out to my Starmori, and yes, I did name it Starmori now, because people commented about how somehow I mispronounced Starmie or something. But anyway, I still like the name Starmori, it's freaking awesome. Anyway, so I know I outspeed Gliscor, he goes for a Swords Dance, I'm just going to scare him away, go for an Ice Beam, and he goes out into his Penguin, and yeah, Ice Beam won't do a whole lot to that, but I do have Thunderbolt. But then it does like nothing, I'm like, wow, Thunderbolt did like pathetic damage. I don't know if this thing is just really like specially bulky in defenses, like special defense, but that does not do as much as I would hope. Anyway, so I kind of predicted that Roar, and I was so thinking Roar, and I'm like, that's a great play for me, because I end up going for the Rapid Spin, predicting a Roar, something like that. And he ends up roaring, which was great for me. He roars me out into my Thor, which would have sucked if he still had the Stealth Rock, because that would have done 25%. And, yeah, Thor is super effective against, freaking Empoleon with my Thunderbolt, so I just go for it. And he even lives. I'm like, holy crap, how do you live with Zapdos Thunderbolt? So he must have really high special defense investments. But, anyway, so I know I can finish him off with a Heat Wave at this point. He just sets up his Stealth Rocks again. He ends up going out into Gliscor, which is good for me that I didn't go Thunderbolt again, because I get some decent damage on Gliscor. And I'm just going to go out into my Starmie again, because you know what, Starmie can really take whatever this Gliscor wants to do. So I'm just going to go for a Surf now, because I know he has Gengar on his team, and I kind of expected him to go out into it, to take the Rapid Spin, but he does not. He goes out in a Rotom, so I guess he predicted my prediction and decided to take the Water Resist, which is a pretty nice play. And I'm kind of afraid of the Thunder move, but at the same time, I want to get rid of Rocks. I know his Empoleon is pretty slow because it's a bulky one, and I know that he's weak enough that I can basically KO it with any one of my Pokemon, so I'm not really afraid he's going to set up Stealth Rocks again, and I just want to get rid of them on my team, because Stealth Rocks are always a pain, and if I can get Stealth Rocks and I don't have Stealth Rocks on my field, that's a major advantage for me. But, yeah, he ends up going for the Volt Switch, which does kill my Starmie, but at the same time, I get to see what he switches into first, and he ends up going out into Gliscor, so I'm just going to go out into the second best thing I have on my team to take care of it, and that's my Mew. He's going to taunt me, afraid I'm going to do something. I don't really know what he was thinking, but I just go for a Psychic, so that's a pretty nice play for me. Psychic is a special move, and I know these things tend to be more physically bulky. It does decent damage. I'm hoping it's a 2-hit KO at this point, so I decide to stay in and go for it again. He goes for an Ice Fang. I'm not really sure why, since, yeah, this Mew is freaking awesomely bulky. I think he was actually scouting to see if I had Sash, but this is a bulky lead Mew, so no. And he's going to go out into his freaking Hydreigon to take my Psychic, since that's a Dark type. But I'm like, you know what, let's test how strong my bulky Mew is. So I'm just going to stay in, and I go for the Will-O-Wisp. I know these things are usually special, and my bulky Mew is actually more EV to defense, but I kind of want to scout whether he had the Specs or the Scarf or whatever item he has, and a Burn will still get residual damage on this guy, which is great. He goes for a Draco Meteor, and it does a little over half, so I'm like, pwn, man, Mew is a freaking beast. He takes it like a Mew. And I decide to stay in to see if my Mew is even more beast, and it freaking is, taking those Draco Meteors like a freaking Mew. Now, it doesn't do as much as I would expect a Specs Hydreigon to do, so I'm kind of thinking this thing's Scarfed, but I'm able to get off a Soft Boiled, which raises my health back to half, and I know that obviously he can't KO me with another Draco Meteor at this point, so I'm just going to heal to full, because my Mew is freaking annoying. It won't go down to anything, basically, because it's a champ. champ. So I just go for another soft-boiled, and he goes out into Scizor. And I know he was going to go for the U-turn here, because that's basically the only thing he can really do to me. So I go for the Will-O-Wisp to try to get the burn, which means it wouldn't do that much. But I missed the burn, and that really sucks. So he goes for a U-turn, and that looks to be a choice band Scizor, and look how much that does. Not even bulky, freaking physically bulky Mew can take a U-turn from a Scizor that's choice banded that well. So he goes out into Gengar, which kind of makes me mad, hence the name, but I'm like, heck no, you can't get a free freaking sub, because that's what Gengars always try to do. So I just go for a Psychic to break his sub, so that's freaking awesome, and I don't think he'll go for it again. He'll probably just try to KO me, so I decide to switch this turn, and it ends up being another great play for me, because I go out into Zapdos, and he does try to kill my Mew with Shadow Ball, but thanks to the bulk I have on this Zapdos, this is a bulky Zapdos, so that's part of the reason why it didn't KO Empoleon, I think. But yeah, thanks to my bulk, it takes that kind of nicely. I mean, not great, but I can survive another one, and that's the important thing. So he's going to try to get a sub off here, but I'm just going to stay in and go Thunderbolt. There's no real reason for me to switch here or do something else. He goes for a sub. He said he was predicting me to think he'd go out into Gliscor, so he tries to keep going for the sub, but there's really no reason why I shouldn't just keep breaking his sub. Even if he does go out into Gliscor, and Gliscor is immune to Thunderbolt, I do have Heat Wave, and either outspeed and kill it, and I'm pretty sure I can take an Ice Fang pretty well, because this is physically bulky Zapdos, and I'm not really afraid of Ice Fang that much. But yeah, he's going to keep trying to sub me, so that's kind of good. I would go for the Heat Wave, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure Heat Wave will KO the sub, and I just want to be sure. No reason to, like, not play it safe, you know what I mean? But anyway, so he surprised me his turn with Disable, which is a pretty random but decent play. I've never seen that move used in competitive, but he does disable my Thunderbolt, so I'm not able to attack this turn. And I'm just going to go for a Heat Wave now, hoping to KO this guy, but he ends up switching. So that gets a switch out into his Rotom, which will take the Heat Wave nicely. So that was not a bad play. He goes for the Disable, so I can't KO the Rotom with Thunderbolt, and then I just get the Heat Wave, which does nothing. So that's not a bad play. Anyway, I'm just going to go for the T-Wave, since that's a move I have on this Zapdos, and T-Wave is basically good to get anything, and Rotom is a kind of annoyingly fast Pokemon. It probably can outspeed some things on this team, so might as well get it Paralyzed. Paralyzed, never a bad thing. Unfortunately for me, though, he does go for the Pain Split, so that thing is now like full health, and my Zapdos takes some damage. But yeah, I'm going to switch now, because I can't Thunderbolt it, and that would be like the best thing I could do. So I decided to go back into Mew, because I'm like, I don't think this thing can do a whole lot to Mew. And that's good for me, obviously. Yeah. So he gets the Parahax when the turn I switch in, which is kind of nice for me. It means I get a Soft-Boiled, and then he gets the Parahax again. So that was like a free Soft-Boiled. That's how beast Mew is, because Mew can just do stuff like that. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So anyway, I'm just going to go for a Psychic, because I just want to get more damage, actually damage at all, because that thing was at full health again. And he's just going to go for a Volt Switch, which ends up critting me, so I guess that makes up for those Parahaxes, and that kind of blows, because that actually does a lot of damage. That did more damage than I was actually even expecting a Volt Switch that was a crit to do, but what can I say? He goes back into Hydreigon, and I know I can't take a Draco Meteor at this point, but decide to stay in. Maybe he'll miss, maybe he'll overbrick and do something else, but he doesn't, and he doesn't miss. So that sucks, and I lose my Mew. But at the same time, I am fairly certain this thing is Scarfed, so that means I can get a free setup with my Metagross and my Doom Cannon. Oh yeah! I know he's locked out. He's locked into freaking Draco Meteor with -2 special attack, so I just go out into it, and I'm gonna get off the Rock Polish, which is so much cooler than Agility. So much cooler of a move, quite honestly. And with +2 speed, I can outspeed pretty much everything, and I'm just going to go for a freaking Ice Punch to blast this thing into oblivion. This Gliscor is done. It does not stand a chance, and it is dead, and yeah, that's awesome. So he goes back into Hydreigon. I guess, you know, he's Scarfed. That kind of proves he's Scarfed, but he does not outspeed me, because Agilogross does outspeed this guy. I mean, +2 speed is better than +1. Come on now. And I just take it out, so that's pretty nice. He's going to go out and Rotom, and I'm so hoping I can KO this thing with Thunder Punch, because I know for a fact this thing has Will-O-Wisp. It used it earlier in the match, but I do not KO, and it gets off the Will-O-Wisp, and that sucks. because there goes my sweep, basically. Actually, I don't think I would have swept with it anyway, but this hurts the sweep even more. But either way, I should just go for another Thunder Punch. I should be able to still KO Rotom at this point, except he decides to switch back into his Penguin. I'm not really sure why, because, yeah, the Penguin's just going to die to a Thunder Punch too, because it is super effective. But yeah, it is dead, so that's freaking awesome. And yeah, I guess maybe he just foddered it, but at the same time, I don't really know how you want to keep Rotom around either, because Rotom is basically fodder at that point. It's not going to really do much at that HP being paralyzed, but I don't know. So I'm just going to go for another Thunder Punch on this Scizor, just try to get as enough damage on as possible. I'm already pretty sure that this thing is banded, choice banded, so he just goes for a Superpower, which is going to finish me, but I know he's locked into Superpower, so I'm just going to go out into my Zapdos. And I'm not really afraid of this Scizor at all. Obviously on Zapdos, Zapdos resists most of Scizor's moves, and this is physically bulky, and I'm fairly sure he's locked into Superpower. I'm just going to go for a Thunderbolt to hit whatever he decides to switch into, and he decides to switch out into Rotom, and that will finish it, so at least I don't have to deal with that annoying Rotom anymore. And that's pretty good. Yeah. You don't mind me saying. Alright, so here comes You Mad, and it does kind of make me mad, because, I'm so afraid of the, crit Shadow Ball. I decided to just go out into, like, this guy, just basically as insurance. I don't think... I was kind of hoping that I could live 2 Shadow Balls, but it looks like it'd be close. I'm not really sure if I'd live 2 Shadow Balls. It would come to min-max damage, but, whatever. He ends up thinking I'm Scarfed, which is funny, so he goes out into Scizor, which is great. I mean, the reason I decided to switch there is because I really needed Zapdos for Scizor, but now Scizor's dead anyway, so that's not so bad at all, because I just went for the Stone Edge. And I think his last Pokemon is Gengar, and I'm just going to let him kill my, Blitz, because you know what? I do have a Choice Scarfer left on my team, and that is my freaking awesome Heracross. And yeah, I'll just be able to finish him off with a Choice Scarf Night Slash, and he does not stand a chance. So, good game, my opponent, TheSuperJai. Rate, comment, subscribe. Make sure you check out his YouTube. I think he has a YouTube. If he does, check it out. But yeah, let me think of a question of the day today. Alright. What is your favorite lead Pokemon in Gen 5? Now, lead Pokemon have kind of gotten, like, worse in Gen 5, because now that you can see the opponent's team before the battle, you kind of have to play, you have to play it a little sneaky. I mean, obviously you don't put the lead in your front, unless you're... I don't know, unless that's Y-Fom, Y in front of me, okay. But basically, leads are a little worse, because, you know, they're harder to pull off, but they're still not impossible. I think Mew is, after playing around with it, I think Mew is probably my favorite Gen 5 lead, just because it is unpredictable. I mean, Zoroark also has that unpredictability, but as soon as you see a Zoroark on the team, you kind of, you know, guess that, you know, it might be the lead. So you kind of play accordingly. But Mew is really a Pokemon, it could be anything. I mean, you see a Mew, it could be a lead Mew, it could be a wall Mew, it could be a freaking sweeper Mew. That's Mew's really advantage, and I think it really helps it as a lead. Not to mention it's you know, it's a secret legend, so it has 100 in all stats, so it's freaking bulky, and it's pretty fast, and it has a great move pool. Obviously, you can learn every TM and HM in every game. So that's gives it a just versatility and power behind it. So yeah, leave a comment about your favorite Gen 5's lead Pokemon, and see you guys later. Bye.